Hello, friends. Hello, hello, hello. Come on into the room. Come on into the room. Come on into the room. Happy Monday, everybody. I'm back. All right. Um, I I'm waffling between doing this show every other week. I feel like it gives me a chance to really get a robust amount of stories for you guys, but that's besides the point. Well, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Who's Getting Sued this week. I am your host, Natalie Pierre-Lewis. I'm the owner of NPL Consulting Firm, a business formation firm. All right. So just a quick recap from what we did the last time I was up on here. Last week, we talked about Daddy Yankee suing his soon-to-be ex-wife for $100 million because she essentially ran his businesses into the ground and stole all the money and split it between her and her sister. What else did we talk about? Some guy is getting 20 years in jail for pirating DVDs from his job. And I'm trying to think what other big things there were. And we also talked about Journey Smollett's ex-husband going after her retirement, and Kim K getting sued for misidentifying a death row inmate on her Instagram. Okay, so that was just a snippet of what we talked about last week. If you want to catch up on the whole show, you can go watch it. But this week we have tons of stuff to talk about. All right, so grab yourself a drink, a snack, and something to record with. Excuse me, I'm so thirsty, and let's get crack-a-lacking. Okay, so our first story of the evening is actually gonna be pretty quick. Let me share my screen with y'all. Here we go. Okay, so if you probably recognize this image that is in front of you. If you do, please tell me what company sells this particular type of fruit basket. I'm gonna give y'all write it in the comments. For y'all who can't, this is obviously, or not obviously, inedible arrangements, though it looks a little bit different, right? Now, edible arrangements, they have been around for a long time. There was a point in time my mom would send me an edible arrangement for every birthday, right? They always got the fruit. It's tasty. However, in the age that we are, where cannabis and CBD products are becoming more relevant, edible arrangements has branched out into another area. Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember, a couple of years ago we talked about edible arrangements. They were suing some companies that were adding, that dealt with CBD and things like that, or infused items and foods, and they were suing them because they're like, hey, we have edible arrangements trademarked, you can't call it edibles. But they didn't just stop there. They weren't just stopping other companies from getting, using the edibles name. What they did was they leveraged their reputation. All right, we've already got the name Edible Arrangements. Let's make it work for us, right? So Edible Arrangements now has a separate part of their business where they sell CBD infused products. Okay, now Edible Arrangements does not make these products themselves. They're kind of like a middleman between some very big CBD names like Wana and like Wana, and then there's Can and things like that. So if you are a person, if you're just starting in the CBD realm, and you don't know where to start, Edible Arrangements, having that reputation already out there in the market, this is great for them, because someone who maybe isn't sure about where to go, they may say, hey, well, Edible Arrangements has these, let me try this. They may not necessarily want to go to a dispensary, but they can go to edible.com, because that is the website, and they can, purchase it from their edible arrangements people. All right. So this is the power of branding and leveraging your trademark to, flip it for another business. So this was very smart on edible arrangements part. Now, again, these are only CBD products. They are not selling THC products because that is still federally illegal. So all of the products, while they will make you feel relaxed, they do not have the psychoactive component of THC that will, get you high. All right. So congratulations to edible arrangements. All right. Now, next, thank you for that heart. Whoever put that there, put your name in the comments so I can say hi to you. All right, our next story that we are talking about tonight, my basketball, well, not just basketball, my sports fans. If you're into sports, report to the dance floor. If you're into sports, report to the dance floor. Give me a basketball emoji, give me a football emoji, give me something, okay? Now, most of us, if you're in the United States, we watched the Super Bowl, whether you were interested in the teams that were playing or not. I literally had to remind myself, hi, Levon, thank you for the heart. Thanks for watching. So this past Super Bowl, I saw, the people, I had to remind myself who was watching, because unless the Patriots are playing, I do not care about the Super Bowl, right? So this past Super Bowl, we had the Eagles and, who was it? The Chiefs playing in the Super Bowl, right? And of course, the Eagles won. Thank you for the basketball, Levon Jr. Now, during during one of their season games, their running back, who goes by the name Saquon Barkley, he made a really cool move. He jumped backwards over somebody, to the passer. Levon, no, we're not gonna have no Pats disrespect up in here, Levon. Okay, Tom Brady's my quarterback. Bill Belichick is my coach. Okay, it's lonely at the top. I understand that everybody can't have the reputation that we had as a football team, but 6 rings, Mr. Vaughn. What you got? Who's your team? All right. But so Saquon Barkley, he makes this amazing move, jumps backwards or jumps forwards over another player and makes a really amazing play, right? So Saquon Barkley is now trying to basically pull a Michael Jordan. He is trying to trademark the silhouette of that move. Now you can see it in this little picture here, but I'm gonna make it larger for you. So that you can see the Ravens. The Ravens. Boo. Okay. The Ravens ain't even make it to the playoffs. Okay. So this is the image that, where is it? Okay. This is the image that Saquon Barkley wants to trademark for his, for merch, right? Now, this reminds us of something, doesn't it? Right? I'm gonna add something else for y'all to see. Stop screen. I put something up for y'all to see. What does that silhouette remind you of? Remember this? The Michael Jordan dunk, right? This is an iconic trademark. This is a trademarked image. You can't just take this image and put it somewhere, right? So Saquon Barkley, he is trying to do the same thing with his with the silhouette of him jumping over this person's head. So I want to know from you guys. You too, Levon, even though you hating on my Patriots, do you think that this is a good idea by Saquon Barkley? Does this have the potential to become an iconic image just like Michael Jordan? Because think about this image is on Michael Jordan's silhouette. It's on all of the Air Jordans, all of that. So, do we think that Saquon Barkley can have the same pull? Let me know what you think in the comments, okay? All right. Hold up. Let me check Instagram just to make sure I'm not ignoring you guys. All right. Next story that we are talking about this evening. Give me one moment. While you wait for that, I want to remind you guys that you are watching Who's Getting Sued This Week, brought to you by me. I am Natalie Pierre Lewis. I'm the host of the show, and I'm also a business formation attorney. So if you are in need of any, it can be done if the marketing is done properly, right? Okay, so let's get this up here. All right. So yeah, if you need help with your business formation, I'm your girl. Hit me up. The link is scrolling at the bottom. All right. Our next story has to do with a very famous face. I'm sure you know who this is. This is King. Wait. Oh shoot! I shouldn't have done that. No, that's not what I meant to do. This is King James, better known as LeBron James. Um, you know, LeBron arguably is, some people say he's the, greatest basketball player ever. They say that he's already surpassed Michael Jordan. I'm not that big of a sports person, so I have no opinion on the issue. But LeBron has been in the league since was 19, I believe. So, and he's almost 40. So LeBron is, reaching the end of his career. So he's looking into other business ventures, one of which is film development. So recently, LeBron and Netflix, they came together and they produced a basketball film called Res Ball, and it was about a basketball championship that was taking place on a Native American reservation at a school in New Mexico, right? So Netflix, they partner with a lot of people to do programming, and LeBron is no exception. They just did one with Mindy Kaling for that show Running Point, which I'm going to talk to you about very soon. But a script writer, a writer by the name of Rob Grabow, he is suing LeBron James and Netflix, saying that they copied his script for Res Ball. He says that, first what you need to know is that his Rob Grabow's script, it was based on a book about the same story. So if you think about The Color Purple, how we had Color Purple, the book, then we had the movie, then we had the musical, right? Well, this is kind of like that. There was a book about Res Ball, and then this guy says he wrote a script, and he says that he showed it, he presented it to Netflix people during something, and then next thing he knows, Res Ball is put out. Now again, the story is not original. It's a real story that was based on a book, and what he is saying is that they copied his script about this story, right? Now, I have not seen the movie Res Ball, nor have I read the book or the script that this man says has been copied. But if they based this movie on a real life story, meaning something that actually happened in history, something that can be documented, how good of a chance does Rob Grabow have of successfully claiming copyright infringement? Because this is not a story that Rob Grabow made up. He said, hey, this book is really dope. I think I want to make it into maybe a movie. Let me write a script, and then presented it. Now, who's to say someone else was not inspired by that story? Now, if LeBron and Netflix, they were inspired by the story, yeah, it'd be kind of messed up not to include him. But if they used a story that the history facts are all there, it might be very hard for Rob Grabow to prove that this is actual copyright infringement because this is something that happened in history, right? But yeah, so, and this is not the first time that LeBron has actually no, someone who is partnering with Netflix has been sued. Last time we were here, we talked about Mindy Kaling. She was sued. She and Netflix were sued over running point because Pepperdine University said they copied their uniforms. Pepperdine University actually lost that because they said, you know, the team that's represented in the show, they're representing a city team. It's more supposed to be like the LA Lakers than than a school. I think Pepperdine University mostly went after it because of how the characters were portrayed, and they didn't want that associated with their sports teams. But that's just me. But good luck to LeBron. We'll see what happens with this Res Dogs lawsuit. But Mr. Grabow is probably going to have a hard uphill road for himself because, again, this is not a fiction story. This is something that actually happened. Okay. All right. Let me close that out. For those of you just tuning in, you are watching Who's Getting Sued This Week, brought to you by me, Natalie Pierre-Lewis. I am the host of the show, and I also teach business formation topics. We learn business. No, this is not what I was looking for. Not eco-tweet. Okay, here's one moment, y'all. I have to put I organized the pictures a certain way this week so that I wouldn't get mixed up. So just bear with me while I get everybody up, okay? All right, here we go. So, our next story. How many of y'all have ever seen John Wick? Why is that doing that? How many of y'all have ever seen the movie John Wick? If you didn't know, John Wick, that is my emotional support movie franchise. I can watch John Wick 1, 2, and 3 consecutively every day, and I've done it. Okay. I love this movie franchise. It's so simple. Keanu Reeves says like 3 words throughout all 3 movies. You know, and it's just boom, 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 boom. Guns. If you had to describe John Wick, it's guns and dogs. Guns and dogs, right? So we all know the name John Wick. It's become very popular. It's also the movie is based on a graphic novel, a comic book. Okay. Now, on the other side of things, wait, shoot. Man, this is I was looking at the picture and I forgot to let y'all see the picture. Okay. So John Wick, that's my man's. If you ever want to host me a movie night, pop that in, okay? All right. Now, outside of after John Wick, you know, we love the movie. And of course, people are going to be inspired by that, right? Well, someone went a little too far. There is a company out here called Jamne Wick. Okay. Now, Jamne Wick, what they do is they make gun carrying accessories. So if you want, you know, if you want a cute little bag for your gun, you can get it with them. Okay. If you are what else? If you're new to shooting, Jamne Wick is your perfect companion. We help ease the learning curve and ensure you have the gear to build your skills and confidence. They also market their products to trainers and instructors, okay? So they are very, very gun focused, right? Now remember, when I told you, if we had to describe John Wick, John Wick is guns and dogs, right? So the people who handle the John Wick franchise, meaning the people who, produce the movie, handle all, maybe handle the trademarks, their legal team, they are coming after Jane Wick. They said this is creating a false association. You're selling gun related accessories. John Wick is all about guns. People are automatically going to think that there is an association between John Wick and Jane Wick. Do you guys think that that is a credible argument, or are the people who run John Wick doing too much? What y'all think about it? I think it's absolutely within their rights to do that, because again, John Wick has become kind of a cultural phenomenon. Everybody knows it. So it's really hard to say that you weren't inspired by this movie, especially when you're selling gun accessories. You're selling gun bags. So Keanu Reeves people, they're going after them. Where's the story? Yes, they're going after them. Now keep in mind, the John Wick, the movie series, this has generated $1 billion in revenue. So the people who manage John Wick, they ain't playing with you. They said, this is our money, girl. You want to use that Wick name? Run us some change. But let me know what you think. Are the John Wick people doing too much, or did Jane Wick, overstep the bounds? Let me know what your thoughts are. Okay, so we can close that out. Okay. Are these the shoes? All right. Next story that we are talking about. How many of y'all have ever drank Fireball? If you've ever had Fireball, the whiskey, the cinnamon whiskey, give me a flame emoji. Give me a flame emoji, okay? Now, I myself haven't had Fireball since probably college. It's just not my thing. I don't think it tastes good. Tastes like cough syrup, not my thing, and I don't really drink anymore anyway, right? But one thing that Fireball is well known in communities, right? Different communities, we know Fireball, right? Well, a certain distillery felt like maybe everybody didn't. So there is a distillery out in Baltimore. They filed a trademark for their whiskey, which they called Fireball. Okay. Now remember, we have Fireball, the cinnamon whiskey, and then there's Fireball by this distillery called Bullshine. Right? When Bullshine files to trademark Fireball, the owners of Fireball oppose the application. They're saying, hey, no. There's no room for Fireball and Fireball in the whiskey market, right? So Bullshine, instead of going back and reworking the name, they tried to get Fireball's trademark for their whiskey canceled, right? So again, Fireball, the Bullshine Fireball Distillery tried to trademark their Fireball name for their whiskey. Fireball, the cinnamon whiskey, opposed it. So then Fireball went and tried to get the Fireball trademark canceled. And they lost, of course, because their argument was that Fireball is generic. Come on, y'all. Nobody is calling generic whiskey Fireball. Fireball, we know it as a brand. There is an image that comes to mind when we think of the name Fireball. There is a taste that comes to mind, right? So there is no way on this earth that Fireball was going to be considered generic, right? I think it was just a petty move on the distillery's part, because because if you are in the liquor store and you see two whiskeys, one says Fireball and one says Firebull, and I'm actually going to show you a picture of the Firebull. Stop screen. I'm going to show you a picture of the Firebull. Sure. Okay. I don't know if you can see it too close here, but if you look at the way the bottles are designed, there are some similarities. So I can see why the court sided with Fireball. But I thought it took a lot of cojones on the distillery's part to try and get Fireball's trademark canceled. Y'all did not have a chance in HE double hockey sticks. But, I respect the effort. Didn't win, but I respect the effort. Okay? All right. Okay. Next story that we are talking about, my friends. Okay, my environmentalists, okay? Now we all know, we're all trying our best to hopefully, do our part to help Mother Earth in repairing herself, because we've done a lot of damage to her, right? And one of those things that we do is we recycle items to make new items. There are entire brands that are building their brand on the idea of using recycled materials. In particular, a company called, let me get this for you, share. A company called Eco TWX, right? So this company, hold on. This company, they make shoes out of recycled plastic bottles, right? I don't think they're the only ones that do that. I want to say Allbirds does that as well, but I cannot remember. Anyway, but this company called Twisted X, the company is called Twisted X. They make shoes out of recycled plastic bottles. And they wanted to trademark the name Eco Tweed for the material that their shoes were made out of, right? Eco Tweed. Now, when was supposed to evoke the idea of recycling. The problem is, there is actually a fabric called Eco Tweed. Eco Tweed is in, hold on, let me pull this up for you guys. Yes, I'm not loyal, baby. Guess I'm untrue. Okay, so Eco Tweed is an organically grown, mulesed-free merino tweed blend that is the perfect balance of softness to the touch, yet strength and sturdiness for hard-wearing garments and accessories. The tonal colors are highlighted with tiny flecks of bright color. This yarn is okay. Blah 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 blah. Either way, Eco Tweed is a material that already exists. So for this shoe company, Twisted X, to be saying, well, we want to call our shoes Eco Tweed when it's made out of recycled plastic bottles, the trademark board said, no, ma'am. They said, look, it's deceptive. You're going to make people think that this shoe is actually made from Eco Tweed, which is a real material. So, and they describe it as footwear made of a tweed-like material. So most of the judges said, no, you cannot trademark this. So it's not going to be trademarked. One judge did dissent. But I want to know, what are your thoughts on, shoes made with recycled materials? Would you buy a pair of Twisted X's They changed the name to Eco TWX now. But again, when you are looking for a trademark for your product, you want to make sure that nothing out there exists. I don't know who they were working with for this trademark, but had they done a search for eco tweed within the fashion world, I mean, all I had to do was a quick Google search. Why didn't you do it? Right? So it's very important when you are filing your trademarks that you do your due diligence to make sure that nobody is already using your the word that you want to trademark or the phrase that you want to trademark already. Because if you file it and it's already out there, the trademark board is going to tell you no, and they're not going to give you back your money. Okay. All right. So let's close this out and get to our next story. We finished that. Finished that row, that row. Okay. We got another sports story for y'all. Another sports story. So, this story is about when a joke goes too far. Okay. So, there is a chain of restaurants called Fred's Fish Fry, apparently out in like San Antonio or something. Okay. And during, I guess, a particularly good season, some fans, two fans designed a Spurs jersey in the style of Fred's Fish Fry, right? And you can see that image right there on the screen right there. And when people make memes and stuff, and they're just putting it on the internet for a laugh, that's one thing. You're free to do that. But when you take something that is, using someone's mark and then you start to try to make money off of it, that's when you start getting in trouble. So this jersey right here, it was made as a joke for the Spurs, but then people really dug it. So they were like, yo, where can I buy one? So the person who designed it said, hey, well, maybe I can just make a few mock-ups and sell them. The problem is Fred's Fish Fry and the San Antonio Spurs, those are both trademark names. So these gentlemen who were selling these jerseys that started off as a joke ended up getting sued by Fred's Fish Fry, and now they owe them $8,200. Okay. The problem is that they were trying to make money. If they had just made the jerseys maybe for themselves and worn it, that's one thing. But the moment you take somebody else's mark and try to make money off of it without their permission, then you are in the wrong. So these gentlemen, while they may not have thought they were, doing it, thought it wasn't going to be a big deal. It is a big deal because companies like Fred's Fish Fry and San Antonio Spurs, they take a lot of, they invest money into securing these names. So you're not going to just be out here making money on their names and not give them a cut. Okay. So please be careful out there when you are making, your funny things. You can make them all you want, but be careful when you start selling, because if you're selling with someone else's mark without their permission, you're opening yourself up to getting sued for trademark infringement, and nobody wants that. Okay. All right. We only got a couple more stories, and then we're gonna close out for the night. Here we go. So give me 1 second, y'all. Guess I'm unloyal, baby. Guess I'm untrue. Okay. So how many of y'all have ever drank a Celsius energy drink? If you have had a Celsius energy drink, just type Celsius in the comments for me. Okay. Now, if you've never drank it, Celsius, it's an energy drink that it's very low calorie. I think it's like 0 calories a can. Taste. I've had a few. They taste good. Right. So of course, every drink manufacturer, they're going to try and diversify their repertoire. So Celsius, they've come out with new flavors, and they've particularly come out with a line of vibe flavors such as peach vibe, tropical vibe, and arctic vibe. Now keep in mind, these are energy drinks, okay? And you can see that picture right there, right? Another company by the name of Aneva. Aneva sells liquid vitamins, and the name of their liquid vitamins is also Vibe. All right. I'm going to show you the liquid vitamins. So this is the Aneva liquid vitamins, right? So Aneva is currently trying to sue Celsius. No, sorry, wrong thing. Aneva was basically trying to sue Celsius, saying that they're sent them a cease and desist, saying that they were copying their steeds. But Celsius went to the courts and they said, hey, judge, we want you to decide whether or not we are violating Aneva's trademark for Vibe. Because they're like, look, we out here selling energy drinks. We are not selling liquid vitamins. And our can design is totally different from Aneva. We're not doing the same things. We want you to decide, are we violating their trademark? So I want you guys, as a savvy audience, look at this Aneva bottle for Vibe, their liquid vitamins. All right. Take a look at that real well. I'm going to take this down. And then I want you to, again, look at the Celsius. Do those look the same to you? I don't think so. And I also don't think they would be found in the same places. Like if I'm looking for an energy drink, I'm probably going to find that at 7-Eleven in the drink aisle. Whereas these liquid vitamins, I'm probably going to find in the health aisle, right? So I don't know. Maybe Vibe is just trying to protect their brand, but I don't see this going that far. So I want to hear from you guys. Do you think that there would be a possibility of confusion between Celsius Vibe and Aneva's Vibe liquid multivitamin? All right, let me know your thoughts in the comments. All right. Oh, why am I so okay? I think, is this our last story of the night? Yes, this is our last story of the night. Okay. Last story of the night. This concerns, the one of the patron saints of funk music, Mr. George Clinton. I'm sure you've heard of him somewhere, somehow. George Clinton, he's everybody's uncle. He's always at the festivals. He's always got one in the air. Everybody knows George Clinton, right? Now, we talked about him, I want to say about a month ago. An old producer was trying to sue him from songs from the 70s, and it was crazy. And I thought that was crazy, but apparently this is what these people do, because George is currently suing his I guess his representation, his manager, for $100 million for copyright infringement. He says that his manager took 90% of his copyrights, and says that he faked contracts and gave himself rights to George Clinton's copyrights. This person, his name is Armand Boladian. Apparently, so apparently this gentleman, he sued for royalties for George Clinton's copyrights to get those royalties, but he didn't include George Clinton on any of those lawsuits. So how are you suing for somebody else's royalties, right? So George Clinton is currently suing this man. Apparently, this is not the first time he sued him. He's been doing this apparently for decades. I don't know what's going on over there, but this is why you need to make sure that you have all of your intellectual property in a row. You can't just give it to somebody to take care of. You need to check on it yourself too, okay? You never want to be in a position where somebody knows more about your business than you do, okay? Because that can lead to you losing out on a lot of money, all right? So those were the stories that I wanted to share with you guys today. We talked about a lot. We talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about Fred's Fish Fry and the Spurs jersey. We talked about John Wick versus Jane Wick. We talked about Saquon Barkley trying to trademark his reverse hurdle. We talked about Fireball versus Firebull. George Clinton suing his representation. We talked about a shoe company being rejected from using EcoTweed because they're using recycled plastic. We talked about edible arrangements now selling CBD products. We talked about Celsius energy drink and Aneva liquid multivitamins going at it in the courts. And we talked about LeBron and Netflix being sued by a writer over the movie Resball. Okay. Those were all the stories that we talked about today. If you have any questions, please, let me know in the comments. I will be splitting up these stories so that you can watch them individually if you're not necessarily keen on watching the whole show, although please watch the whole show. I would love it if you did. But yes, so this is where I'm going to leave you guys. We'll be back next week with more stories. If you find anything, that you would like me to talk about in terms of business stories with your favorite celebrities or what's in the news, let me know, okay? Because we can do that. Oh, some other stuff I wanted to talk about real quick that was in the news. Oh my God, I'm blanking on it now. Oh, Jess Hilarious. I'm surprised they didn't fire her. I feel like there's probably some type of clause in her employment contract where she cannot, badmouth her employers. Who else has been wilding out? I can't think of anything right now, but that was the main thing that stuck out to me. But yeah, have a great week, guys. And let me know what you thought of the show in the comments. Bye.